Welcome back to Squawk on the Street all day long at CNBC. We're doing a deep dive into the ongoing supply chain disruptions that we've been talking about so much, so often. So we're showing you the issues firsthand that it's causing for shippers, transports, retailers, and ultimately for you, the consumer. Our Eunice Yoon kicks off the story in Shanghai.
The challenges for the global supply chain begin on the factory floor. A stronger yuan, higher wages, and pricier stuffing mean the cost of making one of these Care Bears is up 25% since January. Ahead of Christmas, boxes are stacked here for 1 to 2 months compared to no waiting time before the pandemic.
We don't know when customer can give us the shipping space. We don't know.
Once a bear leaves the factory, it takes 15 to 20 days to arrive at a U.S. port like LA. Having these products stuck in China is just the beginning.
Well, I haven't gotten that Care Bear yet. Maybe it's on this ship. It is so busy here at the Port of Los Angeles. Today there are 65 ships parked out here. It's going to take 10 days to get an appointment to be unloaded. Yet longshoremen are not working 24/7.
We can work 24/7, and our men and women are willing to work 24/7. The problem is, where do those truckers, and it's not their fault, where do they take their cargo?
30% of daily truck appointments go unused. That's because warehouses up the road are full. That means right now there are 650,000 containers full of goods, either on ships or on the docks, waiting for someone to come move them.
Railways to move containers like these from LA to here in Chicago, now more than 200% higher than they were back in 2019. Half of the Care Bears will stop in Chicago on their way east of the Mississippi. But now these transfer points are backed up and containers delayed because there's not enough workers or equipment to haul them away.
Chassis availability, driver shortage, labor shortages across the supply system that is really causing the problems.
Also, trucking rates are 91% higher than they were pre-pandemic, making the trip to retailers more expensive and take longer.
It can take twice as long for a product like this Care Bear to get from a Chinese factory to this Learning Express store in Bedford, Massachusetts. The journey cost toy maker Basic Fun 620% more.
We're adding a freight surcharge at the end of the invoice, and the retailer will have to determine whether they incorporate that into the selling price.
This toy store is selling Care Bears for $16.99, and they have enough inventory for now.
The supply chain issues are very real. We are seeing that it's taking weeks to months to get product into the store. And so we encourage you to buy now if you see something that you want to give this Christmas.
Well, joining us now live for more is Eunice Yoon from that Shanghai port and Jane Wells at the Port of Los Angeles. But we're going to start with Eunice. Eunice.
Thanks so much, Morgan. Well, the producer of this Care Bear also recommends that Americans buy their Christmas gifts early. This Care Bear has traveled from the central Chinese town of Hong all the way here to the Shanghai port. But before it gets onto a boat to the United States, it still faces bottlenecks because of the government's very strict approach towards COVID, the zero tolerance approach. The port protocols essentially cordon off the port workers from the rest of the population. So here in Shanghai, the current protocol is 16 days of continuous work, then 7 days of government quarantine, and another 7 days of home isolation. In fact, the policy is so strict that even if the authorities detect one case, they will shut down an entire dock. So not a whole lot of people want to be living their lives this way. So that's been leading to a labor shortage as well as other delays. Factories say that they now face other challenges. In fact, they're seeing more and more orders from big box retailers like Walmart, as well as Costco and Target. And so because of that, they're seeing long lines at the big warehouses here around the port where truckers are waiting for up to 40 hours. And so that is hard for the factories. They can't find as many truckers who are willing to do that, which means they have to pay more money, and then they have to add costs to manufacturing their bears. Morgan?
Wow, Eunice. I mean, great reporting on this. I know something else you've reported on quite a bit in recent months has been the fact that there have been shortages of containers themselves as well in China to actually be able to ship this inventory. Is that still part of the problem here as well, or is it really more the people piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, absolutely. Here in Shanghai, people have been telling us that a lot of the ships that are off the port have been waiting for, on average, 3 to 4 days. So still very much a problem. And in fact, the factories are a little bit concerned that they're going to see a whole lot of uncertainty into 2022 as well as 2023, especially because we have been seeing some electrical limitations here, as well as rising petroleum costs, which again adds to the costs of the polyester inside of this little bear.
Eunice, thank you. Eunice Yoon in Shanghai. Let's get now out to Jane Wells. She's on the water outside LA. Jane.
David, yeah, I finally got my Care Bear. LA Port Police told us last week they saw a ship out here completely filled with only Walmart containers, as these big companies are now chartering their own boats. John Moreau is an expert in logistics. He represents a Chinese manufacturer. He's got about 7 ships on the water right now. He says any boat, no matter how old it is, that can carry a container is being used, and new ships are being built. Listen.
The order book is such that 5.3 million TEUs of new vessels will be coming online between the end of 22 and 2023. So, you know, we're facing a period until then that nobody knows where this is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more supply coming on. And you heard Frank talk, inland places like Chicago have slowed or stopped accepting containers, which means everything gets stuck here at the port. The head of the Port of LA says it's like shoving 10 lanes of freeway into 5, and he doesn't see it even beginning to maybe loosen up till after the Lunar New Year.
Major retailers are telling me that following that holiday, they're going to focus on replenishment of inventory. Inventory sales ratio is the lowest it's been since 2008. That may run us into next summertime and just ahead of peak season for 2022.
He says, fortunately, many retailers ordered early. John Monroe says one thing that might help in a way is this power crunch. Eunice mentioned it in China. It could slow down manufacturing. And guys, at the same time, just to throw it out there, the Coast Guard's still looking into whether an anchor from one of the ships out here may have caused that big oil spill. Back to you.
Yeah, man, that's the convergence of those two stories, Jane, is amazing. A lot's been made this morning of the benchmark freight rate of a container going from Shanghai to LA. Jane, the biggest weekly drop since all of this began. Are you beginning to sense that kind of relief where you are?
No, I talked to a furniture importer last night. He's under contract, so he paid, and his contract rates have tripled since before the pandemic. So he's not going to see that fluctuation. The people who are quintupling because they don't have a contract, they may start to see some relief from that.
Right. It's a heck of a live shot, Jane. Once again, our Jane Wells off the Port of Los Angeles. Jane, thanks. As we go to break, take a look at the top gainers on the S&P 400.